Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Brian. We're going to continue on with this week's theme of music inspired by art. A pretty self-explanatory theme in and of itself. We're going to be looking at the Rolling Stones. This track is called Sympathy for the Devil. It is based off of a book called The Master and Margarita, written by Mikhail Bulgakov. It's a book about the devil roaming around the Soviet Union. So that's kind of an interesting concept in and of itself. Let's dive in and see what Rolling Stones does with this inspiration.
Myself, I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. Stole many a man's soul of faith. I was around when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain.
Bouncy vibe all over the place, digging this bass.
Washed his hands and sealed his face.
I've heard this song.
But what's puzzling you is the nature of my game.
Wow.
Stuck around St.
We'll see how it develops. There's parts of this that seem familiar.
Killed the Tsar and his ministers. Anastasia screamed in vain. I rode a tank, held a generous rank when the blitzkrieg raged and the bodies stank. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guess my name. Oh yeah. I was puzzling you with the nature of my game. Oh yeah. I watch with glee while you kings and queens.
Yeah, I've certainly heard this.
I shouted out, who killed the Kennedys? When after all, it was you and me. Let me please introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I lay traps for troubadours who get killed before they reach Bombay.
The piano, guitar, back and forth. Interesting place to end that solo.
So if you meet me, have some courage.
playfulness is excellent, but those single notes. Yeah, I think this is going to be a short analysis segment here, particularly because there's just not a lot to dig into. That's not to say that the song is vapid or empty in any way. It's one idea. You cover that one idea and you've covered the entire song. And so with this track, we have a fairly straightforward blues rock song. I guess, well, okay, let me look at it from that perspective, because about 2 minutes in, we have the core idea of the track. We have the bass, we have a little bit of guitar, we have the vocals, we have the piano, we have the 2 drums. I think one's a kit and one's just an auxiliary percussion kit. And, this is the heart of the track right here. Walking bass line, some nice bouncy percussion work, I'm going to be honest, the vocals, they're kind of enrapturing. They're very, they grab you and they pull you through it. I don't find this to be always true of the Rolling Stones vocalist, but I think in this track he does a great job of being a storyteller, of transporting you through this tale. He is, and always has been, just a fairly unique voice in rock, and it's just that I haven't always found it to be something that I've been enthralled by, but I think he does an excellent job on this track, at least. And that's the majority of this song right here, is this foundational component. A blues rock track, walking bass line. There's very little chordal movement. The piano pulls us through the chords alongside the bass. There's a lot of just sitting on one chord, and then there's some rapid movement, and then we're back to just sitting on a chord for a while. This almost has the feeling of it's push and pull, stretch and release. It's not a consistent chord progression that makes it feel like we are always in a cycle. We kind of stick around in a place and then we move from it. Then we stick around in a place and we move from it. And I think, judging by the description of this track, that seems pretty cool. The devil going through the Soviet Union. He's probably going to stop places. I don't know if that's necessarily why they did it, because it's also fairly common in blues music to do stuff like that. But it does work well within this general concept. So I'm going to draw that parallel, and even if it's not intentional, say it's a strong part of the artistic vision of this song. I did miss one part. Ooh, ooh. We got these little voices over here, and they just keep doing this one little shtick. They sometimes adjust their pitch with the chordal movement, but generally it's that one rhythm, one dyad. And that was the thing that really stuck the landing for me, by the way, when I was trying to figure out if I knew this. The bass line felt familiar, the piano part felt familiar, the general atmosphere felt familiar, but I couldn't quite place it. I couldn't just say distinctly, this I've heard before. And then that part comes in, and it was the final puzzle piece, and I don't know where I've heard this. I feel like it's been in hundreds of television shows and movies, but I know parts of this. Now, granted, I don't think I've ever heard the jam session element in the middle and finale, but I have heard a verse. Is there even a chorus in this? I don't know. It's so singular in vision that my mind is like the sung part and then the instrumental, then the sung part and then the instrumental, and that's the track, A, B, A, B. But I don't know if I've heard the B sections before, but certainly the fully fleshed out A section I have heard. So I'm thinking I've heard a portion of this track in some sort of film or something. And that's it. It's upbeat, it's bright, it is energetic. These are strange words for blues rock, but I mean it really is. A lot of the timbres are on the brighter side. The vocalist has a bunch of energy and pulls you through this. He's having a fun time with it. When the guitar solos come in, they're having fun. It's all on the blues scale, but it's rockified. And that rock element pulls it out of the dumps. It's not a blues song anymore. It doesn't feel blue in color. It's very vibrant and yellow in summertime. Um, and it just feels fun and energetic through the whole thing. And part of that is probably also the jam part of it too, which is just a bunch of people having a blast together. It almost sounds improvised, maybe improvised. It is just a fun song. But there's also the general progression of this track. We don't start with everything. In a sense, I suppose there are elements of this track where it's not just single in focus because the song lacks some of that bounciness at the beginning. It is implied, it is hidden, you can hear it if you're looking for it, but it isn't anywhere near as plainly described on the surface level as once we have every single instrument in here. I do like that growth. It reminds me of post-rock where you can start with just one or two ideas, and by the end of the track, you're feeling all of these emotions because of the journey. Now, this journey is rather short-lived. I think it's like 60 seconds before we have every single building block in here. Then the rest of the track doesn't change that foundation at all. We've built the song up as high as it's going to go, and now we just need to finish the tail out. But I would say for that opening minute or so, it was a pretty cool ride going from something a bit more muted and focused. It's kind of lonely too. We kick off with just drums, and then we bring in the bass, and there's just so much space around all of this. And you can feel how isolated these instruments are before we bring everything else in. So I do think that there is some nice thematic elements in that introduces the concept of a journey, even if it doesn't take the entire song to get through that journey. We're kind of over and done with adding layers, again, about a minute in. The other side of this is the instrumental parts, and I like the first one. The second one, it's a lot of older music that just kind of jams until it fades out. And it is probably my biggest pet peeve with music, particularly of an older generation where this was more common, but even in modern music where this is the idea. Jam bands in particular, psychedelic rock likes to do this. So it's not like it's not like I just hate older music. I'm not a big fan of this concept as a whole. Jam music tends to work fine for me live. Studio recordings, it's missing something for me. I'm the same way with jazz. I'm a jazz musician. I will listen to live jazz all day. I've really only ever listened to studio jazz for study, to improve my craft. I don't think I've ever listened to a jazz album really too much for enjoyment because there's something lost in the fact that the improvisation is now cemented in history. It's not live composition anymore. And something about that electricity is just, it loses the effect of the music for me. So with that said, I do like the playfulness of this group. You can tell that they are well versed in each other's styles and ideas. We had that back and forth between the guitar and the vocals. The first time around, which I thought was pretty cool, the vocalist introduced a new rhythm that the guitarist picked up on. The second time around, the piano gets in on some of this too. It is just very fun to listen to all of these lead instruments kind of bounce around each other and have this. Again, I feel it's improvised dance throughout this track. The ideas, for me at least, aren't quite as strong as I would like. A lot of it just kind of sounds like noodling to me once we hit the 5-minute mark on this. I'd say the last minute just kind of meanders. It exists. The guitar does some stuff. The vocals lay down some scatting. The piano plays around with some ideas, but none of them really feel like they go anywhere. It's a bunch of random words rather than cohesive sentences and paragraphs and ideas. It's fun. It's playful. Seeing it live would be electric. Hearing it studio, all I could think of is wrap this up, guys. You're not really doing anything here. And And I'm sure I'm going to get some hate in the comments. I do every time I bring this topic up, but dude, the song just started to drag for me. It really did. And I think a lot of it is because they just didn't have anything to say there. They just were jamming. And you know what? If I'm in that situation, absolutely. I've said this a million times in the past. Jam bands, I think, are for the musicians first. I love jamming with a band, whether it's trumpet and like a jazz thing, or when I was playing bass in a rock band, just sitting in the garage or sitting in the practice room, jamming with some people, absolute blast. If the audience enjoys it, that's a secondary component, but I never really felt those moments for the audience. And so from the perspective of the Rolling Stones, they sounded like they were having a blast. I'm not telling them they should have quit, although I did say they should have wrapped it up. But me, the audience, I'm not getting the same enjoyment they seem to be getting out of it. But music is subjective. I'm sure some of y'all absolutely love the last minute of this track and wish it had went on longer. Totally valid opinion, just as mine. And that's about it. That's about all I can say on this track. It is 6 minutes of one idea we slowly build into, and we get told a story and we get some cool solo sections, and then it fades out. So let's hit some lyrics on this. We'll see what's going on there. Well, the song kind of is what it says on the tin. There's not a lot of depth, or I'd even say secondary meaning to a lot of this. Comes in, says, let me introduce myself. I've been around a long time. I was around when Jesus was around, and I made sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. Basically saying I made sure that Jesus was crucified back then. The second verse says, I stuck around St. Petersburg. I killed the Tsar and his ministers. Anastasia screamed in vain. I rode a tank, held a general's rank when the blitzkrieg raged and the bodies stank. Talking about some of the regime changes that happened in the Soviet Union, as well as, I'm going to assume with the use of blitzkrieg here, the Holocaust. Verse 3 says, I watched with glee while your kings and queens fought for 10 decades for the God they made. I shouted out who killed the Kennedys, when after all it was you and me, bringing himself into more modern times here. The chorus just says, pleased to meet ya. I hope you guessed my name, but what's puzzling you is the nature of my game. So he says, I hope you know who I am. I was there when Jesus was crucified, and I'm still here today. Who else can say that they were behind all of these atrocities? Satan, of course. But you don't know why I'm here or what I'm doing. The fourth verse says, call me Lucifer, because I'm in need of some restraint. If you meet me, have some courtesy, have some sympathy and some taste, or I'll lay your soul to waste. That's the whole song right there. I wonder if there is a second layer where Lucifer is being, or Satan here, is being paralleled to evil, because we are looking mostly at atrocities, the murder of people. In fact, every single verse is about the murder of someone or a group of people. He says he's behind all of it. If there were a more secular approach to this, maybe it would be that evil has been around forever in humanity, that we have done some of the worst things. We can ascribe it to something larger, but the question is, what's the nature of evil's game? Why are people evil? Why do we look to hurt those around us? Why do we divide ourselves? Why do we look down on others, so much so that we could murder them without feeling bad about it? I don't know if that necessarily works too much. I know that music thematically doesn't always need to fit lyrics thematically, but as we wrap the track up, it is just an incredibly fun, bouncy jam session, and someone took the time to transcribe all of the vocal scatting at the end, and Woohoo! Ah, yeah, get on down, bum ba dum bum ba bum. Oh, yeah, what's my name? Can you guess my name? Woohoo! Like, these are not the sounds you would make for a heavy, dramatic, serious track questioning the motive or elements of evil within humanity's history. That is a huge philosophical topic this song doesn't seem to be interested in engaging with. But I did try to give it that secondary metaphorical read. The music doesn't seem to go in that direction, but I don't know. I kind of like to know that they had something else they wanted to say other than just a neat little story that someone else wrote and they put some music to it. Not to diminish what they did with this, but well, maybe it is supposed to be that simple. After all, the music is just the thing it is. It's not trying to be anything else or anything more complex than 6 minutes and 15 seconds of a single idea and some fun jamming. Maybe I am looking too deep with the lyrics. This is where y'all come in. Let me know what you thought of Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones. Did you enjoy this? Is there anything that stood out to you? Anything that you'd like to add on to what I said or correct me on? Do you have your own take, perspective, or opinion on things? Let me know. Put all of that and anything else you'd like to into the comments section below. Above that, in the description box is a link to Linktree. It takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC as usual. Until next time, what happens? Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.